Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Politdigm podcast. My name is Red, and today I'm joined by my co-host Alpha.
A very psyched host.
All right, and today is the 3rd of October, and it is a Tuesday. And today's or this week's blog was written by Alpha, and yeah, that's a interesting topic. Actually, it was weirdly enough the first topic that I like. Usually it's something that we come up with, and then like imagine I come up with a topic and I write about it. Technically, this case it was something that I came up with, or a friend of mine and Alpha suggested, and I got it, and then I was like, you do it. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
But before we do get into the blog, we have to do a little bit of our little plug, which is, of course, don't forget to support us on Patreon if you enjoy our content and want to support us. Of course, don't forget to join our Discord if you would like to join our community and talk to us. And if you
It
do,
is free. It costs literally nothing, and you can hang out with yours truly.
yes, with Alpha, and then join me in telling him to shut the fuck up. And
Aw.
of course, if you do both of those things, if you support us on Patreon and join the Discord, then you get to join our Q&A submission chat where you can submit questions which we will answer each episode of the podcast at the end of the episode. So yeah, with that out of the way, go ahead, Alpha, do your thing.
Okay, so first of all, I wanted to tell you a little story. So, if I'm not mistaken, in the midst of the 20th century, actually, scientists in Europe conducted a small experiment to try and explain um, how our brain processes information through our eyes. So what they did was they grabbed a bunch of people and told them, okay, uh, try to observe these objects in these scenarios. And what they found was that we could, pardon me, we could identify and perceive objects faster in our left field of view instead of our right field of view, and we could identify them faster if we move from left to right. And so they said this is how people work. And it's not. We then extended a little bit our study into the Middle East. Fun fact, their language is not as ours, and they found that the exact opposite happens. They could scan things faster, right to left. Same thing happened with Asia, where a lot of their languages, I don't know if it's all of them, I'm not,
With some
yeah, some of them. For example, Japanese Japanese readers could scan faster
from
from
top to top to
right to left and left to right. And people that
yeah.
were fluent in both types of writing could scan equally as fast. So the first thing that they did was they grabbed a small sample size, said this is how people are, and were of course wrong. That is basically what we're going to talk about today, because today is algorithm time, baby.
However, hold on.
So,
Can I add something in a little bit of a fun fact about that scanning pattern thing? We as humans we scan in an F pattern. I don't know why we do that, but if you this is something I learned during marketing because I'm a marketing student, which is when you are, for example, making a CV, right, a curriculum, or you are making a website, you should always concentrate the most amount of information to the left, and then you should obviously have a title, which now you're kind of creating like an L shape, like a upside down L shape, and then you have the text, and the most important text needs to be as close to the topic, because then that's you're creating the F shape. So I just thought it was interesting because yeah, that means that probably in other countries it's an F shape, but like mirrored,
yeah, like
because I don't know,
an
it makes sense.
amputated 3.
An amputate, yeah, it's three that went to nom.
that's uh, that's a hard image. Okay, going back into topic.
Yes, right.
So, as Red explains, this was actually born from a suggestion. Thank you very much. Uh, if the person you know who you are, we will not dox you
We know
for
where
free.
you
That is,
live.
our
You know what
Patreon is
you
in the
know what you
description.
did, and we will find you and we will punish you for the atrocities you have
There are
committed.
two different people. There are two different type of people. Me and Red. Um, so, this is a topic that I have a little familiarity with. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. As I like to educate myself, especially when it comes to the internet and the virtual environment. So I think this was a good fit for me. What I wrote about this week was algorithmic bias. So an algorithm, and you will help me with this, Red, because you are a lot more knowledgeable about this than me, is a machine learning program. And as a machine learning program, it does not sprout from the trees. It has to be built by humans, coded by humans. And while it's being built and coded, it's fed data, information for it to analyze. A good example that was given in a news article that I read about the issue is if you want an algorithm to recognize an apple as an apple, you will feed it
Images of
thousands of
apples.
images of apples,
Yeah.
exactly. So it can see the proper shape, colors, uh, the space it occupies, the weight,
Its shape.
etc.
Yeah.
Now, if you give it only images of, for example,
Red apples.
red apples, if you presented the fucker with a green apple,
It's
it
like,
will be
no.
confused. Yeah, that's not an apple. And that is a problem that algorithms also have with people, in case
Shocking.
you weren't expecting that. It's shocking, exactly.
Yeah.
So algorithms, in that sense, can be made to have a bias. And by bias, I want to make this definition clear. It's literally on the top of the Wikipedia page if you search algorithmic bias. It is a systematic and repeatable error in a computer system that can create unfair outcomes, such as giving privilege.
Yeah, to a certain
So,
result.
yeah, it is an error in the system. But we will get further into that. So, as I was researching, I only became more certain of the notion that I already had before starting my research. There are two types of algorithmic bias, in my view: the accidental
The purposeful.
and the one that was made on purpose.
Yeah. Or
Let's
what?
focus on accidental.
And can I just add something? Like the purpose, you
Yeah,
need to
sure.
take into account that the purpose is not usually like out of a place of malice. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be spoiling a bit what you're going to be talking about, but like, for example, in certain products that are, for example, that use machine learning, that use, an algorithm to, for example, recognize your face, like an Instagram filter, like a basic example. Or I think better example would be, for example, a TikTok filter where the main focus for it is for an Asian demographic. It will have an easier time that a filter working on a person with an Asian, like with Asian, like typically Asian features, like when it comes to like their eyes, their facial structure, there's even their skin color, rather than, for
Yes.
example, an a black person, right?
My friend, that is an excellent segue.
So yeah, and so that's an example of a purposeful like bias because they are making like a product with an algorithm based for a certain a certain target
Demographic.
audience, which at the end of the day does not represent truly everybody, which means that then you have filters that like
And
make.
it's not just that. If you look at the teams that are actually building these algorithms, I rather reckon that a lot of them are Asian. And that
Yeah.
is exactly the thing that I was going to talk about. Call me a middle-aged man that invented the Segway. Call me Dean Kamen.
What the
So
fuck?
that is
A
a weird
weird.
reference.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Continue.
let's go first with the accidental bias because it's a bit more nuanced and also a lot easier to talk about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When you have accidental bias, it can be for a couple of reasons. The main reasons that I saw when I was researching is one, the bias of the people that are programming these algorithms were transferred to the algorithms, or two, uh, there wasn't enough diversity in the way of thinking of those engineers, and as such, the algorithm was giving a restricted perspective and amount of information.
I mean, yeah, the
Um,
best way to put it is that like a person's personal bias is going to transfer to the algorithmic
exactly,
bias.
exactly.
Like It's like
in
a
the way that
natural.
if you ask like a white guy to feed the algorithm pictures of a suburban family, he might have a tendency
Tendency,
to
yeah,
focus
on more
on
white families,
white
predominantly white
families.
families. Yeah, even though
Yes,
he's not like, it doesn't mean that he's like a raging
racist.
racist,
He
but
might not be. The problem is his bias, even if it's not malicious, was
yeah,
transferred to the algorithm. For example, I also put this as one of the sources in my blog. Amazon tried to develop an algorithm to speed up the process of hiring new workers because they weren't dystopic enough.
that is so disgusting. I hate that so much. It makes me want to die. Like,
They had to scrap it
oh god,
because the
good,
algorithm,
good.
yeah, the algorithm was biased towards men. The reason is because when you look at a woman's portfolio and work profile, they might have a little less time present on jobs because they might have to take care of the children, or they might have taken care of children. And as such, when in direct comparison to a man's portfolio, which is less likely to be a single parent or to just stay at home with their children, there was a discrepancy on the amount of time that was actually used to work. And as such, the algorithm looked and said, hmm, these people have the exact same qualifications, but this person
Has
doesn't
less, yeah,
work as hard.
and that's bad
I'm not
because
going to pick them.
because
It was
like
scrapped, by the way. It was scrapped really fast.
and that
Jesus
and
Christ,
that
what's with my accent today? It was scrapped really fast.
and that issue is even worse when you think about the idea that generally like women have a higher wage gap, right? There's a wage gap between like how
It's
much
like
they earn
30%.
and the fact that women are given way less positions of important like uh just having an important seat in a company
Yeah,
or
leadership job,
or
especially.
basically to summarize, women are given less opportunities. So if women are given less opportunities in the workplace, of course their CV is going to be worse. But then if you have like a system that is basing on it, like it's going to make it even worse. So it's like this like weird cycle, right? It's like making something that's bad already even worse because of an
Yes.
already like it's like the system is making itself even worse in a way. It's hard to explain,
Like,
but
I don't know if I put this in my source, the exact uh, news article where I saw this, but while I was catching up on some research, I think I saw a Vox article where there was a link to a study where an algorithm was just let loose on the internet, and it
oh
became
yeah.
super fucking racist.
That was the that was like GPT-1. That was like the original like that was like the version 1 of what ChatGPT eventually became.
Yeah. So, accidental bias. How do you fix it? Well, a great way to do it is diversify the team that's building it.
Yep.
Really easy. Give more perspectives, more ways to feed information,
Yeah, just
and you will most likely cover more angles.
have a wider like source material essentially. Like if you're having if you have a lot of people from different backgrounds, different, gender identities, different sexualities, different cultures, different ethnic backgrounds, like they're naturally all going to have their own biases, right? But if you put
Yeah,
them all together, it's going to, if you know anything about statistics, it's going to kind of average out in a way. It's like going to be have an average of what is going to be the closest to actually representing what the world is. So yeah,
yeah.
it's the best way to fix that issue was, yeah, is to just have
Now,
more people.
there is also the big possibility that it's not the creators at fault, but the learning process. There might be some issue with the code or the way that the information is being fed, which also generates another problem, which is whenever you go to test for biases on these programs, the testing itself, the way that you test
Might be
it,
biased too.
might be flawed too, might be biased
Yeah.
too. They're like, oh, it's not biased, we tested it, and
It's
it's
like
oh
generate
shit,
me a human face. And it's like, oh, these look really good, but then it's just like white faces. But then the moment you try to generate the face of a black woman, it's like, whoa, that does not look like a human being. So yeah,
yeah,
you need to. Yeah, the testing is also, yeah. I actually surprisingly not thought of that. So that's an interesting topic. Uh,
yeah. So you have that possibility. Now, um, there are a lot of parts in our society that run on algorithms, and even things that might be less obvious, such as um, speech patterns in our recommendations whenever we write a message, to text to speech applications, whatever.
Autocorrect made me racist. What?
You would be surprised. I saw so much
That'd be
stuff
such
about
a
it.
that would be such a funny movie, like a government that like pushes like fascist propaganda through autocorrect. I'm cooking here. I'm cooking something up, guys.
Words aren't real.
wait,
I
wait,
know your secret, you fucking
wait a
drones.
decade, and you're gonna see in the movies fascist
Red or
autocorrect.
76
Fascist autocorrect.
this summer.
This summer.
Yeah. Uh, One big example that I found was that there was a big discrepancy between the error of whenever uh, white people use text speech in comparison to black people, speak both native speakers of the English language in the United States. It was about 30% for black people and 19% for white people. It's one of those things that I linked in the blog, so you can double check it all you want. Another big problem is face recognition, because that's racist. Our
Yeah.
face recognition programs are so outdated to the point where you have stories about people being apprehended and arrested because the face recognition system couldn't recognize them well enough and thought they were the actual perpetrator even though they weren't. Which I also linked one of those stories in my blog in case you're interested in reading it.
Wait, can I give an example of that actually?
Oh yeah, shoot.
Funnily enough, another example, for example, if you buy a phone from like a Chinese company or an Asian company, like I wouldn't say maybe Samsung, because I feel like Samsung would be a little more, it's more like international, right? But like a
Yeah,
more
Samsung is goaded, by the way.
like if uh it's a corporation. It's probably evil. It's like if you talk about like a Huawei or a more like a company that like focuses like Asia first rather than Samsung, which it kind of tries to sell to everybody in a way. But let's take a Huawei for example. I don't know if you know this YouTuber, but Marcus Brownlee,
Yeah.
uh like most if not one of the most famous tech YouTubers ever, like
Yeah, I've seen him, don't worry.
he is black, right? And
Yeah.
him and many other black content creators which do like tech reviews, smartphone reviews, have noticed that when they try to take selfies or when they try to do certain things, that their selfies compared to, for example, an iPhone, don't look exactly the same, because that
They
camera
are horrendous.
because that camera is not prepared or is not used to seeing somebody with that complexion, of that skin color. You know what I mean? And
And
so
just also face structure.
yeah, and it's like, but it's like it's funny that the idea that like they're always oversaturated. They're always like they don't know how to. These cameras are so trained on like people with lighter skin that like the moment that they have to deal with somebody with a darker skin color, they just don't know what to do, and
They kill themselves.
the photos come out horrendous.
Yeah.
Like they don't look realistic. Like the people, they either their skin looks like gray and like muted because
Yeah.
like that because it's trying to make them whiter. Whitewashing people, that's not cool. Don't whitewash anything.
Yo. Yeah.
And
Whitewashing and blackface are not cool.
or it's like makes them way too dark because it doesn't even recognize the
Blackface.
person. It's like
Bullshit.
it's funny, like that is like technically speaking that is like face recognition, right? It's like having again an algorithm that's so focused on like a certain
Yeah, yeah.
like
The certain
demographic
demographic.
that it just doesn't know what to do. So yeah, that's like a
Also,
huge
there
failure.
was a story of a husband and wife flying to a certain Apple thingy, account balance or something. I didn't fully understand it, but I do know that even though they were a husband and wife, had stable jobs, and were in the exact same living condition, there was a huge disparity between the money that was available to both of them,
Hmm.
which also creates another problem with algorithms when it comes to bias, which is the fact that it's very hard to compare because these algorithms are trained to be tailored to you and you specifically. And this is where we come to the purposeful bias. So, let's talk about Google.
Oh boy.
Do you remember? I don't know if this still occurs. I'm gonna check it while I say this. Remember when people found out that whenever you search white teenagers on
Ooh,
Google,
yeah, it does. It does. It
you
does.
yeah, and then whenever you search black teenagers,
It's like
whenever you search
mugshots
white
and
teenagers,
shit.
yeah, it's normal. Like if you go to white teenagers on my Google page,
It's like
I'm gonna
happy
describe what
children.
happens. I have a United Church of Canada picture,
Okay.
an adolescent 15 17-year-old image. White teens shouldn't use the N-word. Here's how to talk about discrimination by Your Teen magazine, and a lot of old-timey pictures, war conflicts, and MLK.
And then if you do the
Now let's go to black
black teens.
teenagers and see what happens.
Back in the day, it
So,
was like mugshots, death,
okay,
crime.
I don't get mugshots now. I get racism is a pandemic too, which yes, got it. But there was a time where you would legit get mugshots.
Yeah.
Here it is. Here's the image. I literally got it now. There are teens with sports and mugshots.
Yeah.
And this is from Google.
We're not talking about like Yahoo. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even
I was
want
going
to
to say
go there.
Bing, but Bing is better these days. So I was like, Yahoo?
Yahoo,
Does anybody even
which is
use
funny
Yahoo?
because Yahoo was the first major search engine.
Yeah. Is Yahoo still around? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Yahoo's still around.
Hope it dies. What?
Okay, so you can have. Why would you want to have an algorithm that is biased? Well, it's a lot easier to control and push certain types of information. Let's not restrict ourselves. Let's say that we have an algorithm of a search engine that whenever it recognizes a user as from a certain ethnicity, it will push content towards that user that it thinks it will that aligns. I'm sorry, I'm so brain dead today. It will push content that aligns with the
Their views.
top its beliefs.
Yeah.
So imagine that you have a white teenager on TikTok,
Mhm.
and the content that is fed is right wing.
Mhm.
You will get fed more and more right wing content. The same thing happens with left wing content. And
Yeah,
the
me for
huge
example,
problem,
I'm getting anarchist posts now, so I've reached extremist leftist content. So I don't know why the fuck I did that,
yeah.
but I'm
So,
being told to blow up like buildings and shit. So I don't
well, the
know.
other day I received a notification or recommendation by YouTube, which was a podcast titled "How to Win the War on
Opioids.
what's the capital sin?
What?
The one that's about sex and stuff.
Uh,
Um,
I'm not.
luxury?
I'm not
No,
well
no,
well
no, 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 no. Give me a second.
not well versed on sins as I do not care. Uh,
Well, it's common knowledge. Lust, luxury. What the fuck? Lust. Yeah. How to win the war on lust. That was the title of the recommendation.
yeah, that's a scary one. That's
So, what is the problem there? It's very simple. You are grabbing two worlds of people and just pushing them further apart.
yeah.
Uh, there was a great documentary on Netflix. I don't know if it's still up, but I saw it a while back with my
The social dilemma.
I don't know.
It's
I
one
saw
where
it a while
it's
back
one
with my
that's like it's
family.
like a document like it's like a sort of like it's basically talking about like how social media works and how the algorithms work, and there's like even like and it's like almost kind of like an interview in a way, like at some point.
Yeah, yeah, it might be it.
And there's like this
And
guy
one
with
of the
like
things that
uh
happened was they went to both Republicans and Democrats and asked them, "What do you think of Democrats and what do you think of Republicans?" And the answer was they're people that don't know what you're talking about or they don't have a clue. Because because whenever you're online and you search, the information that is fed to you is not the information that is right. It is the information that will create engagement.
And the information that you want to see.
Exactly. It's not about truth. It's about clicks and minutes online and ads pushed.
Yeah,
So,
because Google doesn't give a fuck if the information you're getting is correct, as long as you're getting
what did
information.
you say about Samsung? They're a
Because
mega corporation. They are evil.
uh, you just found that out, no? Like,
No,
no, I'm joking,
but
but
yeah,
like,
that's basically it.
yeah, like I think that I did watch. I don't know if that's the documentary that you watched, but if it is, like, it does seem. I think I did see that too. So yeah, I think we're talking about the same thing. But you can Google it as I say this. But after watching the Social
What's the
Dilemma,
name? Sorry, Social Dilemma.
I definitely I think that's the name. If it's not the name, then I'm thinking of the wrong one. But I know which one I'm thinking about. What the fuck am I
Yeah,
saying?
I'm pretty sure it was this one. Let me check.
Because it definitely made me aware of how bad like
Yeah, it's this one. It's this one.
algorithms are and how utterly disgusting they are in a way, like how much
Yeah,
of a violation they are towards us. And it really made me
they also
realize,
exemplify beautifully how bad they can be.
yeah, and like how much we should care about them and how much we should advocate to, at least in I feel like the most hurtful ones are in social media at the end of the day,
Yeah,
because like yes, we can be influenced through Google, but like at the end of the day, nowadays we're not on Google 24/7, right? So it's different because like social media is consistently like pushing us, like it's throwing information at us, and with Google you need to search for it, right? You need to you have to want to see it, right? Does that make sense?
have you heard of Google notifications?
I have them off. So, uh,
Yeah, my granny fought with them until she came up to me and said, "Yo, can you help me with this?"
it's something that I also very much did after watching that documentary. It's a documentary that Paul Time suggests you watch it.
Yeah,
It's
there are a couple of very good documentaries on Netflix.
it's
I also recommend watching the 13th Amendment.
it's it really showed like how badly algorithms have kind of like poisoned our minds in a way, in the sense that
They
it's
have
like,
us by the balls.
yeah, as they have us by the throat, and they're consistently like they're guiding us
Oh,
everywhere they want. And it really made me aware of how badly I could get influenced by social media, and it's definitely helped me in the sense that I started turning off as many notifications as I can. I started like
yeah, yeah,
I finally had this step of like I want to be able to be in control of my own device, right? And that's the thing, is
yeah.
like you need to want, like you have to want to be in control of your own device. You need to be able to control every single aspect of it. And it's something that I did, and it's something that's definitely, I wouldn't say it's helped my mental health, because I've, surprisingly enough, to even with all the several undiagnosed issues that I have, like being like having an issue with social media has never been one. I've always had a very healthy, like sort of relationship with social media, but it's definitely at least given me a feeling of control, right? It's giving me a feeling that that I only consume the content that I want. Of course, yeah, like TikTok is definitely like an outlier in that sense, because it gives me whatever the fuck I want, and even sometimes it gives me stuff I don't want. Like sometimes it gives me some goofy ass right wing stuff, and I'm like, whoa,
That's why I don't have TikTok.
where did this come from? But it's honestly, in that sense, it's not bad that it does that. In the sense, it's good that like it gives me stuff like from such like opposite aspects. It's like it's trying to keep like a centrist sort of perspective, right? If it tries to do that, that's not bad, because then you're trying to at least
Yeah, give
compensate
people
in
both
some ways.
sides.
I also have that on, but on YouTube it's different, because I do, at the end of the day, do consume certain right wing content, not out of the sense that I enjoy it, out of the sense that I'm doing it for research, either for Time or for
You
my
consume
own
right-wing content because you agree with it. I
uh,
consume right-wing content because I want to further my knowledge.
and make
We are
fun of
not
it.
the same.
And so I've had like I'll search up like a video about Jordan Peterson, a video about uh, fuck was his name, the Jewish guy, fuck Ben Shapiro,
Ah,
uh,
yeah, Ben Shabibo.
Shabibo, like a bunch of those people, and I
His
don't
sister has an OnlyFans.
like it. What did you say to me?
His sister has an OnlyFans.
What is that real? What the fuck? But
Give me a
like
second. I'm gonna fact check
I
this.
don't think that's true. It's like so it's all these different contents. Like I'll constantly be like shown content from like Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Aiden Ross, like
Oh,
these
it's real. Holy!
of them.
I'm currently on Reddit. It's extremely real.
Okay, Alpha, let's not do this right now. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to check the. This podcast contains explicit content on Spotify, and
Yeah, nah. It oh
shut
my
up.
god.
Homie is getting horned up.
I
But
am not. I'm getting severe disturbance in my mental health.
homie is not gonna sleep tonight. What was I talking
Ben
about? God damn
Shapiro's
it!
brother, my anti-Semitism.
But yeah, it's sometimes I get suggested some content that definitely catches me off guard. But to kind of add on to what you were saying, a couple of years back, YouTube used to do that a lot. There was these
What boys?
like people who would like open like an incognito tab, have a VPN on. Even like there was one that even like had like just bought a computer, like a new laptop, and decided to do on this laptop. So there's like no cookies. There's absolutely like no like there's nothing that could influence it, right? Um, and they went on YouTube and they will like search up a certain topic, right? Something not even political, something like animals, wolves, I don't know. And then they would just like they would go to like the recommended section, like on the right, like they would click on the recommended videos of that video, and like this was maybe 5 6 years ago, like 2017 2018. If you kept doing that, at some point you're on like fascist content, right? You're like on Nazi
Yeah.
shit, and that was really bad. Like if you could like YouTube would make you go down a rabbit hole of right wing propaganda, right? And of course,
Yeah.
when YouTube kind of started realizing that people were figuring that out, because again, it's an algorithm. Of course, YouTube did something about it because, of course, their advertisers are not going to fuck with a platform that unwillingly or
Openly racist.
that's not it's not as openly racist. It's that
It's openly not doing anything against
it's
racism.
it's naturally making their consumers into like white nationalists, right? It's not good. And so nowadays allegedly it's better. It's I've not tested it myself.
Allegedly.
I've not tested it myself, but of course it does seem like it's way harder to do that. At least it you need because like that was the issue, is that you could do it in about an hour. You can go from very wholesome content to Hitler did, what Hitler did was
Was
amazing.
Hitler based?
It's like content that's like
Top
that.
50 reasons why the Nazis were right.
So like content that had those titles in about an hour or so, right? And
That is terrifying.
nowadays it takes longer, right? And it's not better, but like it's an algorithm, so
Not
it's
optimal, but
you
yeah,
can't you if it's an algorithm, you can't stop that from happening unless you just like right, unless you ban that type of content on the platform. Then
which they should.
there's no way to do it otherwise, right? You can't just be like, yeah, like the algorithm just going to like reach this wall here, because I don't even know if you can code that. If you can, that would be an option, but at the end of the day, the better option is to just stop, like the creation of fascist content on YouTube, because like why would you promote that type of content, right? Like I don't know,
Use.
those type of views, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Is there anything you still have to mention about the blog, or
I'm gonna be honest. Looking at my notes, we already ran through all of it, which is great because we
exactly?
have something else to talk
We
about.
do. We've like I feel
I'm
like both of
so
us
hyped.
both of us have like like secretly been this whole time like I want this blog topic to end.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
So
So
can I do the
no no no
honors?
no no no. This is my thing. This
Oh,
is
please.
no. It's my thing. It's my thing.
Ah,
I
sure.
right. So
You
if you
are
have
just
a
one.
we've talked about this topic, technically speaking, or this thing, previously on the podcast, and it's something that I personally have been passionate for a long time. But as the propaganda master, I don't know why I called myself that.
What the fuck?
I don't know. That should be like the new name for like marketers, propaganda masters. No, I don't know. But as somebody who is very deeply in love with this thing and very much loves it and can't shut the fuck up about it, and with its recent expansion of that thing, I decided to start talking about it even more, and eventually Alpha couldn't help it anymore and decided to explore that thing, and that thing is cyberpunk.
It's not drugs, everyone. Yeah,
It's
it's
not drugs
cyberpunk.
or anything like phallic, right? Because that the
Yeah.
thing is expanding. It's like,
Yeah.
but
Okay, I want to give a few bit of context from my situation. So I didn't know jack shit about Cyberpunk, and then when it came out, I just saw a deluge of memes about the bugs. So it was like, oh yeah, game flopped again because gaming company is pushing too hard on the gaming
developers,
studio,
yeah,
etc.,
yeah.
etc. And then Cyberpunk Edge Runners came out. And I
Uh,
came out too. I just
whoa,
Cyberpunk Edge Runners
wait, you,
fan.
you wait, you came out or you came? Those are two different things, Alpha. you
I came.
you came out as gay? Are you finally doing it, Alpha? After all these years of
No,
all your
no, no.
friends telling
I
that
just
you,
came.
oh,
I just came because
damn,
that show ruined me on so many levels. It was the best anime I've I seen till the date, and it rightfully gained the anime award of the year. Even against shows like Attack on Titan, which are just reigning supreme on everything that is anything at this point. So I saw that, and then Reds started talking about this funny new game that is not new, but is being fixed, called Cyberpunk 2077. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. How much does
I
it
I
cost? Holy shit,
I
$70.
I think about it every day. I think about it every day.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't stop thinking about it. I live it. I have lived
They
it for the
went
last
to their
year.
house. There
Uh,
was Cyberpunk on the PC. There was a character there. It's supposedly the wife. I didn't know. And then the other day, uh, Red sent me the trailer
for the new
for
DLC,
exactly
Phantom Liberty,
with my man.
Idris Elba
Yeah, which is a fucking goated actor. I love that man.
and DJ.
And DJ to the point where he has some tracks on the game.
Yeah, they're
And I
okay.
saw that, and then you sent me the music, and
Yeah,
then
and then
you
he
told
and he
me
and
it
then he
was on
started being like,
promotion.
he started like sending a message like, "Please convince me not to buy it, please." And I'm like, "Nope, not doing that. I don't.
Yeah, it just said it's
I
on
refuse.
promotion,
I
and I
refuse.
pulled the trigger.
I refuse to. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, it's on sale because if you could like get a bundle which like costs $60, which is the price of the main game, but you can get the main game and the Phantom Liberty expansion. I was like, it's on promotion. You can buy two get wait what no buy one get. You get what I
Yeah, buy
mean.
one get two.
I'm too dumb for this. But yeah, basically, Alpha has been playing the game. He finished the game today, yesterday,
Yeah,
today.
I finished it today.
And we love the game. And now, because after at the end of the day, this is the Politdigm podcast, not another
The
podcast,
gaming podcast.
a podcast that shall not be named. We will talk about the political and the societal aspects of cyberpunk, because to me, in a way, is the best part about it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a game,
Before we go in,
but if but
before we
hold
go
on,
in.
hold on, hold on. Just give this a little bit
No,
to
no, no,
me.
no,
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 no. This
no,
is
Alpha.
important. This is important. Before we go in, it is the best game I've played to this day.
Same.
It is a whole new level.
Because
There are some problems with bugs, yes,
yes,
but it is
undeniable.
yes, it is something else. I
Because
have never had a game take over my life this hard.
and I think to me the best way to put it, which is going to sound extremely corny, but I think you'll agree with me, is because it feels more than just a game.
Yeah.
I think what makes it such a good game is that it feels more than just a game when you're playing it.
It's one of the best stories I have ever enjoyed. It is multifaceted, extremely complex, and full of characters that seem more like people than some people do.
And there's so many and there's
Nuances.
and there's so much like details to everything you do, and every single choice that you make has some sort of impact on your life that it makes you're always on edge. You're always everything you do,
Small
it's like,
example. You can strike a deal with a member of a corporation, or you can backstab her. If you strike a deal with her, you fuck. If you
whoa,
backstab her, she gets drowned, thrown in the ocean without her hair, and cinder blocks on her feet.
mafia style. Or if you're trying to save a friend of a friend, and they got sort of kidnapped by this weirdo guy, you can either punch him as he rightfully deserves, because his name is Fingers,
I punched him so hard.
or if you don't punch him or slash kill him, ooh, kill him, you get some really good items in the game because he is one of the merchants in the game, known as a Ripper Doc. He's like sells you those cool implants. So like, there's everything you do has like every action you do has like repercussions, right? And that
Yeah,
makes everything so real. And I kind of want to get into again kind of the nuances of the world of Night City, right? Like everything that's around you and all the messages behind this game, and everything that it tries to tell you, and personally what the game has sort of, I want to say, made me realize about life, because that's so deep and not
a
exactly
little
what
too
I'm
much.
and not exactly what I'm going to talk about here anyways, but just what the world tries to show you. Like Cyberpunk at the end of the day is the best example of a dystopic capitalist city, right?
Bottom text.
It's showing what happens when capitalism just wins.
When
In-
mega corporations run wild.
When there's no real government, and when private corporations are the ones who
Yeah.
run an entire city,
When the
where
president lobbies the corporation.
exactly, when there's just no, I mean, cops, or every cop is corrupt. There's like
Yeah, cops
maybe
are mercs,
like
and
it's
they always bitching about getting more money.
and it's like, which is pretty realistic, but the thing is, like, for example, in Cyberpunk, I think it's easier to count how many cops aren't corrupt rather than counting how many are corrupt,
I have found two cops, and they were both corrupt.
because like, yeah, those, there's more than those two, but
The only one that I haven't found that is corrupt
villain.
is a high end, and she's still kind of iffy.
So it's like, the world of Cyberpunk is everything that we should not
Yeah,
want to be.
like
It's like a warning.
homicides ranging to thousands per year
Yeah, and
in just that one city.
it's basically a warning of what we are kind of heading towards if we don't do anything about our current
Yeah,
way of
it is a
life.
possibility.
It's not just a possibility. In my opinion, it's very much what is going to happen. It might be even worse, in my opinion, because I think that in terms of environmental issues, it's going to be even worse than it is in that game.
Yeah, they were
uh,
pretty tame about that. The worst thing that it happens is you can't see the sky, and there's a bunch of sandstorms.
yeah, so like, to me, there's something so horrendous about Night City is the trash everywhere. It's
Literally and
truly,
figuratively.
yeah, it's the trash in the sense of literal trash, and then trash in the sense of the the corporate people. Uh,
And the people in general.
yeah, and it's like Cyberpunk is such like a it's such a representation of the capitalist uh dystopia, or if you want to go that way, the capitalist utopia, in the sense that it's what uh, capitalism seems to want its like
Yeah.
end goal to be, which is
The
where
idea that the riches of
is
the few will trickle down to the many.
yeah, and the idea that capitalism is the only way to breed innovation. The innovation is only bred through competition, is only bred through this like war of like literally in the game. There's
Yeah.
a
Like, I'm glad
literal
we
like
are
gang
paid
war
for it.
between two military like arms dealers that
Yeah.
are like one of the two biggest companies in the entire city, which really like you're constantly stuck between their two like bullshit, like the bullshit that those two are up to. And like there's like they're constantly are like sabotaging each other through literal like just exploding warehouses and shit. And
Just so
so
you realize how bad it gets, you can't get a normal ambulance. You need to have healthcare, and ambulances, their crew is armed to the teeth,
yeah, you
and they
have
shoot everyone on sight.
fuck, what's the name of the
Max stack.
no, that's backstack is the SWAT equivalent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, it's
Trauma team.
trauma team, exactly. Trauma team is like the sort of like healthcare system
It's
that
not
well,
a thing.
it is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? Like it is what they have, but to us, that is not anything. That is just fuck. I don't know. Uh,
It's look at
horrible.
The United States, and just say, "Fuckers, I can do better."
It's like basically if
Oh,
you
you want a
only
hospital? Laughs.
like you need a membership, right? That's pretty well, most healthcare things in the U.S., for example, you do kind of in some
Yeah, but you
countries you
can
do have
still
that.
go to the hospital in the US even without
No, but
a.
like if they see you're dead, like imagine like there's this huge pile of dead bodies, right? Or a huge pile of hurt people, right? And if
Yeah.
only one of those people is one of their clients, they will only save that person and let all of the other ones rot. And if they have to step on their skulls to get to their client, they will step on the skulls of the other people just to save their client. They do not care. Again, as just like Alpha said, they are armed to the teeth in the sense that
Yeah.
they are willing to kill others just to save, uh, you know, their clients. Like that is insane. Like that is crazy. Because at that point, that is not like that's not a hospital anymore. Those are not like healthcare attendants. Those are
Those are guards. Those
those
are
are
armed
guards.
guards.
That's like your personal military force. That's just on the dial. Like it's just waiting for whenever you get hurt. And there's so many aspects. I think the thing that I love most about Cyberpunk, and me and Alpha were talking about this before the recording for way too long, about like what to me makes the game so great, and it is how realistic it feels in certain ways. About how everything feels so real, and I think that it's also what makes it scarier. Because whilst the streets of Night City are beautiful in some places, when you are driving around at night and you look up into the sky and see the massive skyscrapers and see the huge neon signs, there's such like an ugly beauty to it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's such a, I don't know, there's something to it, definitely. And
Yeah.
but then it's also the fact that you see everything around you, and you have relationship with people, and those feel real. And then you kind of step outside. Like I don't know if you've had this yet, Alpha, but like have you had it where like you are playing Cyberpunk and then you like leave your house and you like start looking around, you're like, holy shit. Like at some point it feels like almost like the real world isn't real anymore because of like how used you got to like that setting of Night
I want to
City.
say something that is really fucking sad. You have a main love interest in the game, depending on which character you go to. I managed to raise her up. In my case,
A
it
the
was a woman.
Rizzler.
Yeah. Called Pan Am. And I was sitting at school, and I literally realized, oh fuck, she isn't real.
Yeah, that's one of
Which
the
is so sad, but also speaks volumes to the game.
that is like one of the best representations I can give, or like the best examples I can give of how good that game is and how well every character is designed and how well like personal interactions go to the point where you develop you develop a relationship with a love interest.
Parasocial relationship with a bit of code.
Yeah, like you
Uh,
become you live such in a way such traumatic experiences with these characters. You have such a profound and deep relationship with them to the point where when you start, like when you kind of take a step back and like you kind of go back to your real life world, it almost feels like those people are real. Like it feels like every character that you experience in the game is a real person. And then it's especially fucked when it comes to your love interest, because if you are single like me and Alpha, you kind of start going like, "Oh fuck this! Yeah, it's I'm lonely. Wow,
Yeah.
I want
I
that. I
literally
want that."
sent after the rising, I sent Brad a
The
message, a
reasoning.
couple messages, literally saying I am so down bad for love.
Yeah, and it's true. I finished the game about a year before Alpha did, and I remember experiencing that with my love interest, which is not the same as his. And I remember just like feeling in a way so miserable because I saw how the relationship between my character and her partner is be something that I wanted in my personal life, and then seeing it being reflected in the game, and then having that sort of experiences in the game, and then going back into my life, and then being like, oh boy, those people, those funny people on my computer screen are not real. Now I have to cope with this, and I don't know how.
Yeah.
And it,
Well, the internet has helped with a piece of that because oh my god, there is so much brawn of it.
No, that's not where I thought you were going. I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that. And I think that this is gonna sound really bad and pretty horrendous. But I've talked about this before on the podcast that I've played GTA in the past, and in GTA you kill people and you don't really feel anything. You feel like a cold-blooded psycho, right? Like you'll murder thousands of people and you won't feel anything because you don't give a shit about the NPCs. And I've had it where I'll be playing Cyberpunk and I'll accidentally run somebody over and feel so bad. Like I'll actually feel like remorse towards killing a person, like just another NPC. Or even I'll do something which happened the other day, which was I was driving around and I suddenly saw this weirdly parked car on the side of the road. And then I suddenly saw one NPC beating up another NPC which was on the floor helpless. And I got him out of my way to get out of the car and kill yeah, I just killed him,
Yes.
kill the other NPC, which was beating up the helpless person on the ground, just to help the helpless person. Why? I don't know. Was it part of a mission? Hell no. It was just an NPC doing like this routine like program that like it's part of the game, right? Just to make the world feel more full. This was not a mission. This was just two NPCs fighting, and I saved one of them because I felt bad for them. Like I that is such a weird experience that I was like, wait, why did I just do that? I had no monetary gain. There was no mission related. I simply saw that, felt bad, and wanted to do something about it. And that
Yeah.
is, if that doesn't explain to like if that doesn't give you an example of how deeply like characters feel in this game, yes, when they glitch out and randomly T pose, yeah, it kind of breaks the immersion. I'm not gonna lie. However, there's something to Cyberpunk that I just can't explain to with
Yeah,
words.
like I I was doing the tutorial and you fight like a mannequin and the guy was bobbing and weaving and then just split second T-pose goes back to punching and I started
Fear
laughing so
tactic.
hard.
The
Yeah.
fear tactic
Like
just
I take
T pose
T-pose.
halfway through the fight. Like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Like for example, there is a boss in the game who is a fucker, and he's the final boss. And for me,
Can be the final boss.
yeah, yeah, the fight just wasn't fulfilling because halfway through he just glitched out and was stood in place, and his attacks just disappeared against the invisible wall. So I just stood there with my shoddy and the fucking katana.
Yeah, there's definitely like some aspects, but yeah, like it's undeniable. You can't be like, oh, there's no glitches anymore. Like I saw there was like this one of the many promotional material uh for the new Phantom Liberty expansion was this kind of like video where you saw Idris Elba be himself, and then like going to
Yeah,
this bar. He has like these fancy suit on. He's walking, and there's like this sort of like transition where he turns into his character. He pulls out a gun and is like, and then remember the game is fixed. And you're like, I know what they did there because that was like supposed to be like it was supposed to be like kind of like a pun because they're saying like the game is fixed. Not literally, they're saying that the game is fixed in the
Yeah,
sense that it's like it's a rigged like
system.
system. It's a rigged system. That's like that
But
was
yeah,
what that meant.
now we can
But
spoil
also there
that.
was like a secondary, there was like a second meaning to it in the sense of like we're trying to say that the game is now fixed, but it's not true. The game
It's
is
not.
not fixed. Like it would take
It's a
another.
lot better, but still,
It's a
it
lot
has.
better. Like it's
It's
like
such a massive game though that
yeah, it's like
there are so many things that could go wrong.
there's so many little random glitches that I think that even if they kept updating the game for another 5 years, I think that they would still would not catch every bug. I mean,
Like I have had a
Minecraft
game
is what
crash twice on me.
the game Minecraft is like what 13 years old, 14 years old, and there's still bugs that's like or so dumb that's like there's just no game will ever be 100% like have no bugs. So that's gonna happen. But yeah, Cyberpunk still has a bunch of them, but this it's not.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, it still has a lot of bugs. I'm not gonna play the game. If you do that, you're dumb. You
it's
you
not. It's
you are
not.
dumb, and I hate you personally. And I never hate anybody personally, but I hate you personally because you talked shit about my favorite game. That's right.
No, but the game is beyond incredible.
Yeah, and there's a lot of political commentary in it, which is something that we were
Yeah,
talking
for
about.
example, Keanu Reeves is a communist, anarchist, terrorist.
Yeah, he's got the trinity of the
Take that
ists.
as you will.
Like
And
there's
he was
like
in the military, and he's a deserter.
yeah, there was like there's this amazing and very popular speech that Keanu Reeves' character gives, which is like when you're sitting at this pier near an abandoned uh what's it called, fair, I guess. Yeah, there's like a huge like
Yeah.
Ferris wheel and stuff and a roller coaster. I know it's no, there's no Ferris wheel, it's just a roller coaster, never mind. And you're this place is called Pacifica, by the way, in the game, and you're just sitting there, you just did a mission, and like Johnny is giving this huge like speech about like how he had to do something because like the corporate overlords are constantly fucking us over, and the people they need to do something. They need, and I was like, holy shit! If it wasn't for the fact that he's like a terrorist, right, and he's like willing to like murder people to like get a better world, which I am not, and we do not advocate for. There's like 90% of what he was saying is shit that we say on these podcasts all the fucking time,
Keanu Reeves, as always, is fucking goated
and
with the
it's
sauce.
and
Keanu Reeves
there's
is the sauce.
and there's so much like anti-corporate commentary
You
in the
think
game, and it's so funny to us when we see a conservative person playing that game, and then be like, no, this game is republican. It's republican. Yeah. It's like, how the fuck do you think this game that you have a literal anarchist inside your head, one of your voices is literally an anarchist, and you think that this game that is constantly showing you how bad it is to live under a capitalist dystopic city, that it's telling you that that capitalism is good. How in the fuck? I do not get that.
yeah.
It is mind numbing to me. That's the takeaway you take from this game. That is the most like leftist game that I've ever played in a lot of senses. Uh, and it's yeah, it's pretty funny. Although in the new expansion, you do like become suddenly like you can become a spy, and you're like trying to save
Yeah,
the.
you have a save the
You
president
have to
mod,
save
which
the
I
president.
struggle to myself because you can still be a dick to the president.
But to be fair, though, she is the president of the NUSA, which is the new United States, which their whole point is to reestablish a government in the now new United States, meaning that their whole idea is to take away power from the corporations. So, there's in some merits, I gotta give some merit to them in the sense that they're not okay with it. Like they don't fuck with like this insane ultimate capitalism, right? So they're just slightly more to the left. So there's something to it. You can't. It's not all bad. I'd rather be governed by a government than a company my whole life.
Yeah, but yeah, like
Although you
one
can
of the
make the
most
argument that
important
that already
things I
happens.
think this game has is the idea that there are happier endings to the game than than others, but there is no
There's
truly
no
happy ending
there's no
because
true happy ending.
this reality doesn't allow for it. It's
Yeah.
um it's a type of world where it's so incredibly nihilistic. You as the citizen have no hope to change it for the better. You can only hope to become a legend and go down in a blaze of glory. The only way your name is remembered is not how you live,
It's
it's
by
how
a
you
drink.
die.
And because you get
And a
named after
drink.
it, and a drink gets named after you.
And
That's
there was a drink of David Martinez. When I saw that, I bawled my eyes out.
but
Holy shit.
I think that's something that I was reflecting upon this, and as a person who is very romantic, like currently in history, in school, we're talking about romanticism, and and I know in the sense I'm very romantic, like I'm very positive, right? I'm not nihilistic at all. Like I'm quite the opposite of that, right? I'm very
Meanwhile, me being an absurd is
like
saying there is no meaning. And
and yeah, I mean same. There's no we've talked about this before in another episode. I was like, yeah, there's no meaning, but like, hey, but I think wasn't it like the first episode? Uh, but
probably.
it's it's exactly that. Is that I love happy endings because everybody wants a happy ending, right? Like it's just our nature, right? That we want to live a happy and fulfilling life. And I think to me that the most depressing and in a way it's very upsetting and to me the least my least favorite part about this game, but to me I also recognize it as what makes sense. As it's what it should have it is what it is and I
You
think that
don't
it's the right
become like
choice.
the savior of the city. There is no
And
space for that in this narrative.
And it's not just that, is that again, like Alpha said, there's no true happy ending. There's no true good ending. Every
The
ending,
happier ending you get, you still have a death sentence.
like
You will die in
die in
6 months.
is it 6 or 2? Yeah,
Six,
you'll die in less than a year. Like the best in the happiest ending, you end your game.
which
You
was
run
what I got, by the way, because I'm
you run
fucking
away from the city with your love interest, with a bunch of your close friends, but you still know that in less than a year, which apparently is 6 months, I don't remember that anymore, you're going to die. Or most likely you're going to die because they kind of leave it like wishy-washy, kind of like giving you a little bit of hope that maybe you'll find some like alternative
nah, fucker's
thing
dead.
that could maybe save you. But this is just like them theorizing that maybe they well, it's not even them saying that you will, it's just being like, I hope that we find
Wishful
something like
thinking.
that. So that is the best ending of Cyberpunk. I don't know what the Phantom Liberty ending is. I know there's a specific one to the new DLC. I haven't played it yet, which is going to be my next ending. I'm currently working towards it.
Same,
But
same.
all the other endings are so sad. I've only finished the game twice. One time I got the ending that Alpha did, and my first time that I finished, I got another one, which
Let me
is
guess, the one where you go with the rich bitch?
uh I think so. I
The
don't
sense
remember.
where you do the thing that she wants you to do?
Yeah. That
See,
one
I didn't have the stomach to go down that road.
that one there's I think there's like four or five endings. There's one where you commit suicide. Uh there's a bunch of them, but they're all so depressing. They're all so awful. And I think that the worst part about all of them is that what truly distincts them from the one that Alpha and I got, from being the good ending, is what happens during the credits. During the credits of the
Yeah.
game, you get little glimpses of messages from each character that, like each important character that you met throughout the game. And in the good ending, you get hopeful messages. You get messages that are happy, that celebrate you in a
Mostly that they
way,
love you, that you are family.
and they are like, I'm hopeful for you. I'm glad that we got to meet. I'm really happy that we did, and
Like
most
this
importantly,
this chick that gives you a tarot card that says it's hopeful.
and most importantly, like the message that you get from your love interest is like we're gonna find a cure for this. We're gonna live a happy life. We're gonna make
Yes, it
it.
was. I'm so fucking glad you're here with me.
And
Verbatim.
then hearing that is happy. It makes you happy because you're like, oh, this is a nice ending. Even if you ignore the death thing, right? Even if you ignore the thing, that you're going to die soon. But for example, the other ending I got, the first ending, your love interest, you basically leave them. without ever telling them. And so you get a message, them telling like, I was worried sick. I waited for months and you didn't tell me anything. I left without you, and whilst I love the time that we spent together, I wish we had never met and shit like that. And I started crying so much because that is such a horrendous thing to end, such a horrendous way to end the fucking game like that.
And you know what? Our viewers are gonna be crying too
Oh god.
because we are arriving at the end of the podcast.
Oh yeah. Before we get a little too emotional here. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a great game if you can buy it. If you can't, watch fucking playthroughs.
exactly.
Like, consume it in some way. It deserves that.
And
It has won my heart and my mind. I see Johnny Silverhand in my walls.
whoa, that's a different thing. That's not love. That's a mental illness. Anyways,
I have
speak
a metal arm.
what?
Uh,
Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. This was a bit of an alternative episode. We did forget to mention in the beginning episode something I wanted to do, which I forgot. Kind of wanted to apologize about last episode. That was a huge mess.
yeah, that was fucking messy.
That was horrible. That was pretty shit. If you go to like our streaming services, our the streaming services, and look at the description of the episode, we have like a little description of what kind of happens, like a little bit of a synopsis, and it's like the first half we talk about representation and this, and then the second part is horrendous. It's the worst thing we've ever filmed. We don't know what the fuck happened. We are sorry. It's like basically the synopsis of that is like what the
Well,
fuck happened.
we got the worst one out of the way already.
Yeah,
So
because like we were
it's
extremely
all uphill
tired.
now from here.
We're extremely tired. I don't know. We just kind of lost it. But hey, at least this episode went a little bit better. We obviously the second half wasn't as Politdigm as within the Politdigm topic as we normally do. But I
But hey, we
definitely.
are normies. We get the right to chill out
But
sometimes.
I think that it's also good to like media influences us, right? It makes us it changes the way we perceive the world. And I think that in a way Cyberpunk has very much done that to me. It's definitely changed the way I view the world, and it's made me in a way more hopeful towards the future because I don't know, makes me want to fight for it. Makes me want to do this every week. So, with that being said, don't forget that you can support us on Patreon, and if you do, of course, we will. You can, of course, join the Discord, send us questions through the Q&A channel, and of course, in this particular section right now, before the end of the episode, we will answer all your questions, or not all of them. If there are 100 questions a week, we're not going to answer all of them, but uh, we'll answer a few,
We'll pick the
and
best ones.
we'll pick the best ones exactly. And of course, we appreciate everybody who spends their an hour weekly listening to our podcast and
Reading our
our
blogs.
blogs. And yeah, thank you all
Put
so much for
we put
watching.
a lot of heart and soul into these.
We do.
It's a passion project, but we we try a lot to make the best content that we can because that is what everyone deserves.
And at the end of the day, it's not just about making the content, it's because we are truly, you know, focusing
Passionate,
on creating a movement. We truly want to make a better world for ourselves, and this is just the start of
or
it.
at least try. I think that's the best thing.
And
Am I sure that I'm going to do something better? No, but god damn it, am I gonna try?
remember that this what currently Politdigm is a blog and a blog articles every week and a podcast is only just the beginning, and we will only
All
do
uphill
better
from here.
things from here. So remember that, and with that, you want to leave a little message, Alpha,
Be nice, people. Hate capitalism.
and
Have a wonderful day.
of course, we'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.
To the team, Thong.